Hi pals, it's me, Artie, they them pronouns only. And my video this week is a little bit more to do with the benefits, reforms, and all of the bullshit that this government is pulling at the moment. Because fuck these guys. And one of the big changes that they want to make is people with varying health conditions will not be able to get PIP and will not qualify as disabled people, which is fucking bonkers. So I thought I would talk a little bit about how my varying disabilities, of which I also have many, as you know, and how all of these health conditions, or at least some of them recently, have been impacting my ability to do any work. Also, it is fucking cooking. It is so warm again, and my room is cooking. I am suffering. Let's get that fan blowing directly in my face. Thank you. So, here are some of my recent reasons for not being able to work. I have talked about it a few times on my channel, but I get migraines. Presently, we don't know why, and I don't have the will to go through another referral to another specialist to probably just be gaslit the entire fucking time anyway, even if it might end up with medication to help relieve this pain I'm in often. But when I have migraines, it does depend on the day. My migraines are not the same all the time, and sometimes I get aura migraines. And that means I can't fucking see. I can't see. There's just a bright light with rainbows in the middle of my vision. I can't see. It happened to me once, literally as I was crossing the road. I was like, okay, cool. I'm in the middle of a road. Even though the traffic had stopped because it was a crossing. I was like, amazing. I can't see. I need to go home. My first aura migraine, the GP practice receptionist asked me if I could drive round to the GP practice to be seen. And I said, I can't see. I can't see. But those aren't as common as some of my other migraine symptoms. My main ones that come up often are light sensitivity, eye pain, generally chronic pain, anywhere from like my trapezius muscles all the way up to the top of my fucking head. A lot of brain fog. I have cognitive dysfunction. I cannot think, can't get comfortable. A lot of my medications also do not help. A lot of them don't help. And also, I have sensitivity to smell, worse than my general autistic sensitivity to smell. So some examples of what this prevents me from doing are editing my videos, doing any sort of work on a computer, really. So emails, doing work for the research projects I work on, being in meetings, being on camera in meetings. I can sometimes attend a meeting and listen, but I can't actually contribute. And also, to be fair, sometimes I can't because, oh my God, people are literally the worst with technology. And the noise can be horrendous, even without a migraine. They also prevent me from basically doing anything really because I usually have to sit in a dark room, lay in a dark room, can't usually actually sit up at all. Any screens are usually too bright for my eyes, so if I want to pass the time, it's something that I've got to be able to listen to. So yeah, I can't sit up and film videos, I can't make art, I can't pack orders, I can't repack a market bag. I definitely can't go to a fucking market. And I can't do phone call conversations. I definitely wouldn't be able to sit in an office or in a meeting in person either. More reasons I would probably be fired as a disabled person if I was at an employed job in the last couple of months. Nausea and other general gastro symptoms or flare ups. They often keep me up at night. So I am not sleeping well during those periods, or it's waking me up in the middle of the night. I have a lot of stomach pain, painful bloating, chronic intense nausea where I basically can barely move and kind of have to try to sleep it off or like distract myself until it passes, and continually dose myself up with anything that might help. It also means I can't eat, I can't go out anywhere, I can't travel. I had to cancel a market a while ago, literally on the day, because the nausea was so bad. I could not imagine sitting on a train that kind of jiggles you around constantly for like 2 hours and then a whole like 8 hour, 9 hour day, and then another couple of hours coming home. So that prevents me from also editing videos, filming videos, working on research projects, etc., especially attending markets or anything in person. And again, I wouldn't be able to really participate in online meetings, but might be able to listen. But basically, I cannot engage because I have so many like things going on at once. I would need to be near a bathroom, either because of vomiting or other concerns. My back hurts from yesterday still. Uh, Because also I had one of these gastro like episodes out in public during this period of time as well. I was on my own. There was literally nobody even at home to come get me or help me, and I had nothing in my bag, like medication wise, to help me with the pain, the nausea, etc. I was just stuck in a public bathroom for like at least an hour, and I had to like rush to my car to rush home to then continue the episode, which, yes, it did continue after I got home. Recently, I've had knee pain as well. Funny little story. Funny little story. Woke up and my knee was clicking in a way that it's never clicked before. Turns out I had a partially dislocated kneecap. Of course I did. So I was unable to walk up and down stairs without pain, unable to drive without pain as well, even with an automatic car because it was my right knee. Couldn't really open heavy doors. I realized this because I went to the physio the day after it started clicking, and they have a really heavy back door, and I was really struggling to get in. I was just like, who put this here? Is this a joke? Who put this here? And I definitely wouldn't have been able to pull a heavy bag. So if I had a market, so yeah, that would mean I'd probably need help getting to and getting into a market, maybe even help setting up and packing away, which are all things I can usually do myself. But that is the unpredictability of hypermobile EDS, bitch. Sorry, my kneecap just forgot where it's supposed to live. I don't know. I also have a lot of appointments, and like they often end up being all within the same like month or two a lot of the time. For some reason, the NHS fucking loves giving me appointments in October. Give me a fucking break. That's my birthday month. Fuck off. Fuck off. But I've had a few appointments this month as well. Or not this month, but like during this period of time that I'm talking about. I had a London cardio appointment, which was for an echocardiogram scan. And that usually means basically my whole day is gone. I wake up, I get ready to go, I go. I spend a few hours there, often waiting. It depends on the appointment. To be fair, the London appointments tend to be like a little bit faster than the ones where I live. But either way, because you've got all that extra travel of like 1 to 2 hours each way for London, like that's a whole day gone. I also had an allergy test in a hospital that was about an hour's drive away from me. And tell me why we drove an hour first thing in the fucking morning to just see a guy who literally works as a GP at my GP practice. It's a bit of a sick joke, that one. But no, really. So yeah, I had an allergy appointment at a hospital an hour away. Turned out to just be one of the GPs at my GP practice. Didn't I knew he had a specialism in dermatology. I didn't know he was also actually working as a dermatology consultant. So, and he didn't know I was coming until that day. And we did the spider. So yeah, that was also a half day gone because it was driving the hour, finding parking, finding your way around a new hospital, waiting, having the appointment, going home. So I don't remember when exactly we got back, but it was around midday, I'm pretty sure. Oh, my knee. Speaking of which, my knee hurts. Ow, why are you hurting me? Ugh. I'm seeing the physio again in 2 days as like a check in. It is doing better. It's definitely getting better. I had stopped using the KT tape because it peels off all the time in the night and my skin started peeling off. So I'm serious. My skin was peeling off. You're welcome. I mean, yeah, I just said it to be fair, but this was also in my notes. A last minute private physio appointment because of my knee. Luckily, I managed to get a next day appointment during like in the middle of the day so that I could go and get somebody to actually look at my knee, assess my knee, discuss it with me, and diagnose it basically, and then help me treat it. If I went the NHS route, I would probably still not have fucking seen anybody. Or if I had, they'd have been like, I don't know, mate. I think you're making it up disease. Because they are so shit with hypermobile issues. And also, a lot of my other appointments that I have a bit more regularly, even if they're on the phone, sometimes I can be waiting around for hours for the phone call. And I mean, it might be different now because my rheumatologist has retired, but when I would go to rheumatology, if I had a later appointment, so like late morning or early afternoon, basically you would just have to accept the fact that you would be sitting there for like 2 hours before your appointment, and then the appointments may be half hour. So that as well. And also, a lot of these places and locations just simply do not have Wi-Fi. And if they do have Wi-Fi, it doesn't work. So it's not like you could, kind of make up for it by taking a laptop or something to carry on doing certain things for work. No, you just have to sit in like a signal pit for the rest of your days. Sorry, there was a fucking wasp just right outside my window, and my window's open right now because it's so hot. I hate this one. Can you tell I've been off my ADHD meds for over 4 months? And well, I didn't write this in my notes because I forgot. But medications are another one. Either adjusting to being on a new medication or trying to get off certain medications. A lot of medications can cause pretty shitty withdrawal, even if you do it really slowly and really carefully and under supervision. I also like I mean, there's the whole video that I did a while ago now where I was talking about how I've been off my like ADHD meds for a while. But yeah, being off of my ADHD medication has made it really difficult for me to keep on top of a lot of tasks, particularly just by myself, especially anything admin related. I lose all my emails. I have like I don't know, man. If you've ever sent me an email, I don't know, it's gone. It has gone. Stop emailing. People stop speaking to me. That'd be great. Yeah, so like a lot of those things out the window. And because I juggle a lot of different jobs and tasks, oh, why does my knee still hurt? Ow. Because I juggle a lot of different projects and tasks, it can be difficult to keep track of when I've missed or forgotten something. Yeah. And it doesn't help that a lot of other people I work with are somehow even more useless than me. Yeah, I did say that. And when we think about some of these examples, what is really left out a lot of the time is actually finding out from disabled and chronically ill people, neurodivergent people, like what would help? What would help you? What would help you? Because the thing is, jobs are not flexible. Like 90%, 99% of employed jobs are not flexible, and that's why a lot of people end up being freelancers who are then struggling to keep on top of everything else that an employed job would kind of take care of for you. So, what would help? For me, more time. I think a lot of the times I often get unwell due to stress as well. Like more stress means I'm more likely to have a flare up of some kind. And most of the time, all I need is just more time to do the job because I've lost a day or I've lost half a day or I've lost a week sometimes. Just moving the deadline would be great. Like I'm not asking for more money because I wasn't doing the work when I was ill. I was ill. I was having a flare up. But some kind of flexibility with deadlines would be fantastic. Extending deadlines is something that most jobs just will not do. Like I said, flexibility, letting me decide when I'm working, how I'm working, staying home, and not thinking about work is what helps actually. Because honestly, if I'm gonna sit there all day, too nauseous to like even drink water, I don't want to think about work. I want to think about literally anything else that will distract me, but also think about when I feel well or more well again. But a lot of the times, we are not afforded the luxury to just not think about work. Hello? How fucked is that? That's disgusting. And really, support. Some support to deal with these fluctuations in our health would be really great. Someone to attend a market in my place or with me would definitely be helpful. Someone to do some more of the admin in certain projects I'm doing. Like at the moment, I have been running a small research project, and a friend of mine has been taking on a lot of the admin side of things, and has particularly been helpful for when I have been ill. It's kind of like having a little mini assistant. They can check the emails, and if there's anything super urgent, we can talk about it and deal with it. But yeah, that was when I was really nauseous recently, and it just would not stop. So like having like people power, people power to lighten the load, and just even just someone who can just monitor the inbox, and that if something super urgent does come up, that you could maybe like rally for a little bit. I think it would all just be so much better. But no, you're kind of expected to do all that yourself. Oh, my shoulder. My shoulder hurts. I was being social yesterday, but we were all sitting on the ground, so my back hurts a lot. And actually, sitting here like this, my head hurts. Like I've got a thumping headache. And a dead foot. Ah! Ah! And then, yes, I would also feel the same way about my other tasks. I am looking into a better virtual assistant option for my art business. But also, it when it comes to like my videos as well, It would be great if I just had somebody who I could send stuff to and be like, here you go. Can you just do that for me, please? Thank you. You know, someone who does like maybe some base edits of my videos, captioning the videos, just because I do want to be more accessible, but I don't have the money or the time or the capability, to be honest, to do it myself. Again, checking emails, posting or scheduling social media posts, promo posts across socials, because I fucking hate doing that. I do such bare minimum versions of those things because I can see where the views are coming from and like where the traffic is coming from. But I hate doing it. I don't want to do it. I just don't want to do it. Yeah, somebody who could manage my diary would be sick. Somebody who could manage my entire diary and keep at least keep my digital one up to date. And again, like I was saying, that with what my friend has helped me do with my research project, somebody who could just check the emails, and if anything's super urgent at the start of that week, just, you know, flagging it to me. Contacting people on my behalf, because I literally can't be asked. I've tried so hard to try and have some kind of palatable customer service vibe. I simply do not have the knack, the patience, nor the masking capability anymore. I really don't. I have none of it. Yeah, generally someone who can deal with a lot of the admin side of things would be amazing. Helping to plan and book travel for markets or other meetings and such. Someone who can make sure locations are accessible in a way that I need them to be, because otherwise I can't do anything. I can't work there. I can't go to this event for this reason. So that's kind of it. My support workers are going to be helping me to apply for UC and access to work whilst they both still presently exist. Because that's the thing. The government is trying to defund and just completely destroy what the current benefit system it looks like in the UK, even though fraud is at like 0.4%, and most of the fraud is actually just DWP staff mistakes, or like it's either that or the DWP staff mistakes cost more money than any fraud does. One of those two. I can't remember the exact thing, but I'll find it out. The lighting isn't great, but I literally don't care. I don't care. So I tried looking at what I was stating. So I think what I was recalling was specifically to do with PIP fraud, which I think the statistics were 0.4, 0.04, something like that. But after like actually trying to look it up, like it's not very straightforward. Like I cannot lie, because basically going on the actual like proper website for all of this stuff, it just is really weird how they decide to do things. All right, so the first screenshot I took, it says overpayments happen because of fraud, claimant error, and official error, which is processing errors or delays by DWP, a local authority, or His Majesty's Revenue and Customs HMRC. Underpayments happen because of official error. In 2024, the estimates that were previously reported as claimant error underpayments were removed from this publication and are now reported separately in the unfulfilled eligibility in the benefit system statistical publication. How fraud and error is measured. A sample of benefit claims is randomly selected from DWP's of administrative systems. Around 12,900 were sampled for the year 2025, or 0.05% of all claims for the benefits measured by this year. So, for a start, they don't even actually check all of their systems, they just sample a random, very small, like literally not even 1% of benefit claimants or benefit claims as well, because there's a little bit that talks about how I don't think it takes into consideration one person claiming for multiple benefits. So yeah, like a lot of their statistics come from teeny, 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 tiny pools of their systems of people claiming benefits, which, if you know anything about that kind of thing statistically, is not great. Like what I do in research, we speak to very small numbers of people because we are looking for qualitative answers. We're not looking for statistical information. We're not trying to count how many trans masc people have a bad experience with their GP. We're asking them what their experiences are, good or bad, with their GP, for example. Like, that's not something we've necessarily asked, but like, as an example, qualitative studies and research speak to a small number of the population or community because you want to get more detail, and it's sort of a starting point for further research, whereas this is quantitative data. So that's the statistics side of things, which is what they provide us. They're like, oh, that's the 0.04 fraud. And it's like, well, for one, that will change depending on which people you go for. How are you selecting that? I know it says randomly selecting, but how are they doing that? It doesn't say. And the fact that they are not even sampling 1% of claimants, like they're not even sampling 0.5% of claimants or claims. So it's, you know, not particularly accurate anyway in either direction, whether it's to say, yeah, there is loads of fraud, or no, there is not loads of fraud. But also from what they do show us every time they do this is there is not a lot of fraud. But also they have been and still are kind of grouping fraud in with their own errors and also claimant errors. The DWP's performance measurement team look at the data held on the administrative systems and then contact claimants to arrange a review. So that's when they will ask for evidence such as tenancy agreements, bank account details, and other information that could affect their benefit claim as part of the review. The claim is assessed to determine whether the benefit award is correct or not. If the claim is incorrect, the amount of money the claim is wrong by is calculated. Errors on the claim are classified as one of the following: fraud, claimant error, official error. For example, the total rate of overpayments on universal credit was 12.4% in 2024, compared to 2023, which was slightly higher at 12.7%. The associated monetary value of overpayments was 6,400. It says M, so I don't know if that's what the M is supposed to stand for, but that's how much it was in 2024 compared to 5,500 in 2023. But the thing is, because obviously cost of living, inflation and stuff like that, the amount of money people are entitled to does go up every year anyway, even if it is only a little bit. So they do say, at least in here, that you should be using the percentages rather than the monetarily whatever amount. So it's also not particularly useful for, what the governments have been talking about in the UK, for money saving measures, because the money will be higher even if fraud or mistakes are going down. Errors, that's what I mean. Even if those have gone down, it still will most likely be more money anyway, because inflation. And then as well, these measures are different because a claim can have both an overpayment error or fraud and an underpayment error for different error reasons. So, for example, a claimant is receiving a benefit payment of £100. Two errors are found on the claim. The first is an overpayment error totaling £50. The second is an underpayment error totaling £20. And they might be in different parts of like the assessment criteria. So, like, I mean, I've only just reapplied for UC, so I don't really know how that works exactly still. But if we use PIP as an example, PIP has got 4 different kind of sections that are like in two categories. So you'll have the daily living aspect, which has a standard and a higher section. And then you also have a mobility section that has got a standard and higher amount. So that's kind of like the 4 different categories. So as an example, they might find that actually you are more mobile. So your higher mobility amount is incorrect and needs to be dropped to the lower amount. But they might realize that they only gave you standard daily living when actually you need the higher daily living amount of money. So it would be, that's what I think they're talking about when it comes to seeing 2 different kinds of errors or fraud. So fraud, this is something that I couldn't really understand what it was saying. I'm not going to lie. Claims where all 3 of the following conditions apply. The conditions for receipt of benefit or the rate of benefit in payment are not being met. The claimant can reasonably be expected to be aware of the effects on their entitlement. Benefit payments stops or reduces as a result of the claim review. Like, I don't that's so vague in explaining how they decide what fraud is. Like, I've only been on 1 disability benefit so far, and I wouldn't know half the time what would be considered to up or lower my entitlement. And I'm literally only on 1 benefit because it's just so confusing. Claimant error is an overpayment that has occurred where the claimant has provided inaccurate or incomplete information or failed to report a change in their circumstances. There is no evidence of fraudulent intent on the claimant's part. So I think this is also fucked up anyway, because for a lot of us on things like PIP, for example, and probably UC too, we have numerous conditions, or we're still in the process of getting those conditions assessed and diagnosed. And any changes to those things you're supposed to report. Most people don't, and even like the like benefit support systems tell you not to do that. Like, they might just take your fucking money away even if you've got worse things, because it's somebody new assessing you all over again. But also, like, that would be so much more work for the DWP anyway if people actually did do that regularly. Like, some years I have gained like 3 diagnoses. I'm not necessarily saying that's when I've already been claiming PIP, but like in general, sometimes you can end up with numerous diagnoses throughout the year. Then you'd have to supposedly report those every time that happens, and then basically wait to be reassessed, and then you do it again, and then you do it again, and then you have a reassessment in 2, 3, 4, 5, sometimes 10 years time. Anyway, like, I just think that this particular system is a bit messed up. And to be honest, most of the time, I think people who don't report changes are saving the DWP money, because a lot of the changes that people are experiencing are usually worsening health, which means that they would be more likely to be entitled to more money. But people hate going through the process so much that they would rather stick with the lower amount of money they have, which is something that I've gone through as well before, is that I was on the lowest amount possible, which is just the standard daily living for the first 6 or so years that I've ever been on PIP. I mean, even after gaining numerous conditions, after a really rough few years when I was, diagnosed with Crohn's disease, Takayasu's, then put on loads of medications, etc. I had all my PIP fucking taken away at my reassessment. And I had to put in an MR, which is a mandatory reconsideration letter, where I got what I was getting before back, when really I was entitled to more than that. But because I hate the process, nobody wants to do this. Nobody wants to be here. Official error is when the benefit has been paid incorrectly due to a failure to act, a delay, or a mistaken assessment by the DWP, a local authority, or HMRC, to which no one outside of that department has materially contributed. And also, I think that they are not measuring that particular statistic properly, because like I just said, most people are not updating the DWP when they get more diagnoses, and most people are being given less than what they are actually entitled to, because most people's, again, I'm mainly talking about PIP here because that's what I am most familiar with and experienced with, but most people are not updating DWP every time they get a new diagnosis, because it's a lot of work. And also the staff at the DWP are fucking awful. They're horrible people. They're either horrible people or completely clueless and have no idea what they're doing. And many of them will write reports that are just full of lies. When they took my PIP away a few years ago, I think it was early 2020, maybe 2021. I think it was early 2021. I still had a bunch of things wrong with me, and I'd gained several diagnoses within that last couple of years since my first or previous PIP assessment. And she just decided that I did not deserve any of my PIP anymore, even though all I was getting at the time was the standard daily living, which is basically the smallest amount you can get, full stop, on PIP. Are they reporting that? Because again, it's not particularly clear when and how they are, or what exactly they're including as what they assess for these statistics, because they are speaking to claimants who already have PIP or UC or whatever, and then they're going, all right, do they deserve this money? But they're not going, what's happened before this? What was the last assessment like? Did they already put in an MR? Did they go to tribunal? I don't think those things are being included in these statistics. If they are, and I'm incorrect, my apologies. But from what I can understand from this particular article from the DWP, which I honestly cannot read all of, it's so long, and very jargony and super vague as well. They're not really detailing those parts. They're saying that they pick this 0.05% of all claimants to have a look at their claims again, asking these people to provide evidence that they are real and they are claiming the money, and basing it from there and not from any other experience. And then as well, it does say the total rate of benefit expenditure overpaid in 2025 was 3.3%, compared to 2024, which was 3.6%, which was actually slightly higher amount of money apparently. And it's interesting to me that the total rate of benefit expenditure underpaid remained at 0.4% in 2025 and in 2024. Isn't it interesting that that number doesn't move at all, or hasn't in the last year? It's almost like there's a bias going on here, that they know that if they keep upping that number, they're going to look worse, but they're also definitely not going to lower that number. So they just keep picking to stay the same. But the proof of overpayment is supposedly lessening every year. But then that's the thing as well, these overpayment statistics don't specify the difference between whether it's fraud, claimant error, or official error. That's just the overpayment in general. Have we learned anything about propaganda today, kids? I hope so. So yeah, I'm not going to delve too far or any further into this because honestly, I find all of this excruciatingly triggering. I really don't like the DWP. I have been treated horrendously by them every time I've interacted with them or the job centre, and I am already feeling the regret of applying for UC, seeing as they have rung me twice at days and times that I have told them I am not available because I basically refuse to speak to the DWP, Universal Credit, without a support worker with me. Like after my past experiences of PIP and UC and everything I've heard from other people's experiences about PIP, UC, and access to work, I just will refuse to speak to anybody without my support workers there. And that is an access requirement. You don't want to speak to me with just me here, girl. You really don't. So yeah, I've had to put that in the journal, even though they told me that they understood and made a note of when I was available. They still rang me at the wrong time. So yeah, put a note in the journal to say again what times and to point out that they have fucked it up, and that we will be ringing them when my support worker is next here. They want to get disabled people back into work. What are they doing for us? They are going to supposedly give us more work coaches, which has been proven to not actually make any difference in disabled people being able to access work. They are defunding access to work, which also already sucks as it is, and mostly doesn't really work very well and has weeks and weeks and weeks long waiting lists. And like their processes are fucked. Half the time you have to make a new claim for something that, and it makes no sense why you can't just adjust a claim or something like that. Again, it's also all a postcode lottery anyway. They're also planning on making PIP in-person assessments only. I'd rather die. My first assessment was in person. I would rather die. Obviously, as well, they're basically getting rid of the UC's low capability to work. Is that what it is? Something like that. I can't remember what it stands for because I don't have it. The first time I tried to apply for it was horrific. And yeah, they're trying to push this idea of concessions. So all the disabled people who are currently getting their benefits won't be considered new applicants and will still be able to get their benefits as usual, but we're still going to be assessing you based off of the new criteria anyway when it comes to it. And that means if you lose your benefits at any point, you'd have to reapply and then you'd be considered new. So fuck you again then anyway. Like it all just makes no fucking sense. There are many disabled people who want to work but cannot access work. There are many disabled people as well who cannot work. That is fine. Your ability to work does not impact your worth and worthiness as a human being. I know, a little bit of a contentious thing to say. Sorry, I think we should get food, water, shelter, warmth, clothes, whatever the fuck the list of things is. I think we should get everything for fucking free, bitch. Everybody, not just disabled people. Everybody. I'm here rooting for a 4-day work week and pay rises and a universal income. That's what I'm really rooting for, is the universal income that we all just get paid to exist, love. Communism. Like I don't want to be doing I don't want to grind. I don't want to grind. It's not good for my well-being either. I don't want to grind. Honestly, I just want to sit at home and make shit and give it away to people. And I want to sit at home and make my little videos and not feel super compelled by the algorithm all the time. Because what happens when I get older? Who's going to look after me when I get older if I can't earn a living wage? Just a note, when I recorded this video, it was a few days before the government vote on the benefits bill on the 1st of July. So there are some possible changes coming to that bill anyway, but nobody believes or trusts it. So apparently they're leaving alone PIP entirely, but that is only a verbal thing. They've only said it verbally. They haven't. It's not in the bill. People, they still voted through the fucking bill anyway. They're still going to make loads of cuts to UC. So this is your little PSA. I think there's another like discussion and vote sometime soon. They plan to put all of these things into action by I think November of next year, 2026. So, if I can find some decent letter templates that you can use, I'll put the links in the description of this video so that you can email your local MP about benefits cuts, and things like that, and tell them why they shouldn't be cutting benefits. Hello? Hello? Fucking getting on my nerves, this fucking government, isn't it? So yeah, like if you're gonna do anything, I don't know, small actions like using an email template and emailing your MP do make a difference. It does make your voice heard by your MP. They work for us. They work for their constituents. So, you can also follow up with your own emails. You can send them documentaries, you can send them videos, articles, etc. They explain why these cuts are a bad idea. Please go and do that. I will try to link some useful and helpful information in the description of the video to make it easier for all of you guys to do something about it. Because, the more people that say something, the more likely it is that we will be listened to. Thanks. This was my PSA. Thank you. I hate Labour. Also, fuck reform. If you decide that you hate Labour, that you're going to vote for reform, like, you need to take a moment and do some internal work, please. Because what the fuck? Genuinely, you just hate people. You just hate people. Okay, good to know. Anyway, that's my video for this week. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know. No, I don't let me know anything. Shut the fuck up. My foot is dead. I'm clearly not sat on enough pillows. I've also probably sunk through the process of making this video. But yeah, if you're a disabled person who wants to share some of their experiences of like what has impacted their ability to work when it comes to their health conditions, feel free. But obviously, I don't think you should have to share that information. My back just hurts so much after yesterday. I might just have to do some lay down time. Lay down time. Lay down time. Anyway, yeah, go watch another one of my videos. Which one shall I pick? Oh, my foot hurts. Go watch one of my other videos. Maybe one of my last two videos would be good, because like, what the fuck is up with the views right now? I don't know. But both the deaf representation in Code of Silence and Propaganda for the Disabled are very low in the view count, even for what my videos have been doing recently. So go give them a watch. Go leave a comment. Engage. Wah wah wah. And I will see you next week. I'll see you next week. Bye.